A Jersey student has been awarded a scholarship by a society that educates and trains lawyers. Gray's Inn created the scholarship, which awards exceptional students last year. She's also been working in St Helena as a legal assistant at Claire Davies Advocates and will begin her further studies in September. Well, Dr. Sasha Holden is the Associate Dean at the Institute of Law. It's good to have you with us, Dr. Holden.
Lovely to be with you this morning. Thank you, Connor.
Tell us about this scholarship then.
So the scholarship that Lee has been awarded is a hugely prestigious award. The Honourable Society of Gray's Inn set up the scholarships in 2019, in fact. They established a series of named scholarships, which are named after several prominent female members of the Inn, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Sex Disqualification Removal Act. Now, that act was actually an act that prevented women from being able to practice as lawyers, so it's hugely significant. And there are a series of scholarships, and one of our students was awarded one of those scholarships, so we're hugely proud of her.
You must be absolutely delighted.
We are so delighted. Lee is a fantastic student. She's very hardworking. She's an absolute delight to teach. And she has worked incredibly hard to reach this goal. So we're hugely proud of her as a Jersey student studying on our LLB here in Jersey. We offer the University of London law degree here through the Institute of Law in Jersey. And it's via that route that Lee has now gone on to be awarded this scholarship and will be taking up her place in the coming year.
Let's be honest, Sasha, anyone who gets to the point where they're doing an LLB has done well, I think. But this must just be the icing on the cake.
It really is, because I think actually becoming a barrister is always a hugely competitive thing to have to do. There are two routes to qualification for lawyers. One is as a solicitor and one is as a barrister. Now, they're both... I think, as you say, once if you're working towards a law degree, you're obviously, you're doing something really special, and it is a highly competitive environment right from the start. But I think also going on to be a barrister is a really fantastically interesting thing to do. Just being part of the Inns of Court, as Lee will be in the coming year, will be really exciting. It's a wonderful environment to be in. You're surrounded by fantastically clever and interesting people doing some really interesting things. And the sort of stuff she'll be learning will be very court-focused. So whereas solicitors will be, I guess the way I think about it sometimes is that when you qualify to become a lawyer, if you think about all lawyers as members of a rugby team, the solicitors are the people perhaps who don't always get the glory, and they're the ones who are kind of grinding away in the scrum and doing all of the often much of the hard work as well.
I've just bought a flat, Sasha. I know exactly what you mean, but carry on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll know only too well. But the barristers are kind of like the wingers. They are the ones appearing in court. So primarily what Lee will be doing is learning to be an expert in court. So she'll be the one who's standing up on her feet. She'll be learning how to prepare for court and to be expert in forensic in the way that she goes through the information often supplied to her by solicitors from the client. She'll be learning how to present that information in court in an expert way, how to examine and cross-examine witnesses. She'll also be learning, depending on what her particular path becomes, she'll either go down the route of being a criminal barrister and defending or prosecuting people, or she'll be litigating on huge pieces of litigation, big arguments between companies, effectively, contractual disputes. So it's a hugely responsible job, and it requires a really forensic, bright talent to do well. And we are fantastically proud of Lee, not only for choosing this path, because it's highly competitive and it's a really esteemed thing to do, but to be awarded this scholarship is a huge feather in her cap.
They're awarded, as you said, to women. Is the barrister world and the legal world, is it a bit of a boys' club?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think not these days in the same way that it was. I think women still have a long way to go. I think in particular, it's no secret, I think, that women still suffer discrimination indirectly in the workplace and directly. It still can be a difficult place for women. I think particularly for women who are coming back from having a family. Often that break in a career for women can be devastating. And I think that's borne out by the fact that if you look at the numbers of women who are admitted to law school, often you'll see that those women are just over half of the students are actually women. But by the time you get to looking at the statistics for women who are in senior roles, whether that's at the bar or certainly in law firms as well, often the number of women who are partners will be less than 5%. So when you cross-reference those statistics, you can see that there's a real problem, because those women are not making it to the top of the profession because they're not good enough. They are not making it to the top of the profession because the way that the profession is structured often means a huge pool of talent drops out and doesn't come back into the workforce because it's very difficult for them to do so after having a family. So I think there are a number of issues that the legal profession has to face in order to make sure that women's talent isn't they're losing a huge pool of talent by not making that more facilitative for women to return to the workforce after having a family.
Is that something that you, as the Institute of Law, are looking at?
Yes, absolutely. We are hugely facilitative of all of our students, actually. One of the things that we do, so we offer the University of London law degree, which is a hugely prestigious law degree, recognised internationally, and we offer that provision on island, which first of all means that people who are on island, including women who are coming back to the workforce who might want to change direction with their career, are able to access that degree. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we offer is a hugely flexible provision. So we offer a lot of our classes in the evening and at weekends. And that makes it actually flexible for a range of people who might want to do our law degree, who want to be able to, so it may be women returning to the workforce or who want to change direction, but also people who want to earn during the day while they're doing their studies. They can do that with us and have their classes in the evenings and at weekends. The other thing that we offer here is we offer each student a personal tutor, and our cohort's small enough that we do get to know everybody. So I often have people in my office needing a little bit of a helping hand, and that will sometimes be mums who are telling me that it's too much and they need some more flexibility or some more support. And because I suppose one of the huge advantages of coming to us is for women and for other students is that you can get access to me and my colleagues as well. So while you're doing this degree, which is an internationally recognised degree, you get access to us and you get our support along the way, which is, I think, hugely beneficial, including for women who do, have multiple pools on their time and have many plates spinning and in the air. And I think that's vital, actually, to have that support as you're going through and that recognition that life isn't always a straight path, particularly for mums. We at the Institute of Law are very aware of that and really willing to support.
And I'd imagine that for you, away from your own personal career and your own personal experience, which I don't doubt is vast, to be the Associate Dean of the Institute of Law, but
not at all, but
as a woman, you must be delighted to be able to do that.
I am so delighted. I mean, my particular area of research actually is women's rights and refugee rights. So I'm acutely aware, as a mum of a beautiful 8-year-old, India, that it is really difficult, actually. For myself, So I did my undergraduate degrees and my master's degree. I did my master's degree part-time returning to the workforce actually after having children is really difficult, and I know that from my own experience. We had quite a checkered path actually, in that we had a stillborn daughter before India, and then were lucky enough to welcome India. And as a woman, having those experiences and coming back into the workforce, I have to say I have an acute sense of how profoundly important it is that you are supported in that return, and that people understand the various challenges that you face, which are specific to you as a woman, actually. And so we at the Institute of Law, and me particularly, yes. But, I think it's important to say as well that it's not, I think those issues are hugely important, and obviously Lee's success is anchored in this context with the award of her particular scholarship, and it's linked to the Sex Discrimination Removal Act. But we are aware of, particularly this year, more than any other, that people have a range of stresses to face and a range of challenges. So one of the things that we try to do as well is adapt our support to make sure that we're supporting all of our students in the best way possible.
I bet it's tough.
You know what? I think it's really hard for the students. I think this year has been. I mean, I'm a mum myself, and I'm in my 40s. I try to imagine what it might be like for the younger students, and I really empathise with their situation. One of the other things that's been really great about our provision this year, and this is actually not down to me, this is down to our fantastic Dean and Chief Executive, Professor Janine Griffiths-Baker, who joined us about a year ago. Janine made sure that we had an incredibly reliable provision over the course of this year to make sure that our students were well supported throughout the coronavirus. So we had completely uninterrupted teaching. We had pre-recorded lectures so that wherever people were, because people were prevented from travelling, they were able to access the lectures. We also made sure we had really small teaching groups. So we had our students online, but we had them in incredibly small groups and made sure that we had enough academics on board to support that so that our students were getting small classes where they got access to us and still felt like there was a regular learning environment. So we held those more often and we held them in smaller groups. Again, our personal tutoring provision has been really important this year, just checking in with people and making sure that they have that connection at a time when they feel massively disconnected from everything, really. And I think actually coming as we are now almost to the end of the academic year, I think it's something we can be really proud of in Jersey and at the Institute in terms of how well that has gone this year. I think we've just carried out some student survey, some feedback, to get some feedback, and the students of university have been really positive about how that's worked for them and the fact that they have felt well supported in getting their law degree, their London law degree with us. So that we're really proud of that, actually. And I think it's you might tell from my accent that I'm not a local, but
no, surely not.
I do actually. The gentleman who set up the institute is Sir Philip Ballash, who is obviously known well locally. And I think one of the things that I've heard him say is that what makes you a Jersey man or woman is not being born here, but your commitment to the island. He's a huge supporter of the institute, and that sentiment, I think, is very relevant for me. And as in my role here at the Institute, I feel immensely proud, actually, of what we're doing, and that the provision that we're offering is something the island can be proud of as well.
That's a real asset, I'm sure, and I bet you're doubly proud of Lee as well.
Lee is amazing. I'm so excited for the year that she's got ahead. I hope that the coronavirus machinations, unravel or. Not unravel, but I guess I hope that things develop in a way which supports Lee to be able to see that through to its end and that she can go there and she can enjoy it to its fullest extent. It's really important for her. She has worked hard, as I say, for this. She has worked incredibly hard. I've taught Lee throughout her career with us. She is an incredibly hardworking student. She deserves every ounce of success, and this is a really exciting opportunity for her to do something that is highly competitive, highly esteemed, and I have no doubt whatsoever that she's going to make a great success of it.
Dr. Holden, a real pleasure to speak to you this morning.
And you too. Have a lovely day.
You too. That's Dr. Sasha Holden, who's the Associate Dean at the Institute of Law here in Jersey. A student from Jersey has been awarded an exclusive scholarship to become a lawyer in the higher courts of the law. She's called Lee Jones, who's in her final year of studying law at the University of London and was considered an exceptional student to sit the bar practice course and qualify as a barrister. Obviously, she's studying over here, but it is awarded by the University of London.